Hey, I want to share a story with you. I'm thinking of starting a series of a few different episodes, if you will, of really rotten real estate stories. And this first one's a doozy, and I don't know if I can follow it up. But I was on a walk one morning, doing my morning walk, and one of our agents called me and said, "Hey, Crystal, small town police need to get into our listing." And I'm like, "Well, what's happening over there?" And I knew she had a listing that, was undergoing renovations, getting ready to list for sale. And she said that a different agent had reported that there were human remains in our listing. So that went to DEFCON 4 right away. And I said, "Oh my gosh, who reported something like that?" So she told me, and I said, "Yeah, go ahead and go cooperate with them. You go personally, you open the door, you walk with them through every room, and stay there till they leave, and then ask for the report later." And she did that. So in the meantime, of course, I'm calling this agent to say, what in the world is happening? So I called the agent who had made this police report of human remains in our listing that was undergoing some renovations. And I said, "Hey, this is, Crystal, I'm calling about this police report that you've made. And here's the story, y'all. If we talk about like really rotten real estate recollections, this is going to be at the top of my list." She shared that her ex-brother-in-law said a few months back at a house located at, go down this street and turn left and turn right and turn left and turn right, and it's a few houses down, that he had discovered human remains in the crawl space while he was doing some work there, and that he had moved them to a closet inside and had sent her a picture of the quote-unquote human remains. And she had sent that picture over to some expert in identifying human remains, and that expert has said, yes, in fact, those are human remains. But y'all know, you've been on Zillow, you've looked at houses for hundreds of hours, and if you've been a buyer in any market, you've gone into a house with those beautiful digital photos, and that house looks nothing like those photos. That's the biggest disappointment buyers can have, is the house does not look like the same condition as the photos. Those gorgeous, digital covers a world of sin. But this expert somewhere had said, oh yes, in fact, those are human remains. So she got on to the map and got on to MLS and used her ex-brother-in-law, who has admitted to moving human remains from a crawl space to a closet, and said, well, of all the houses in the area that he described, yours is the only one, he said this months ago, yours is the only one that's undergoing renovations. Oh my gosh. So, my first question to her was, well, why didn't you call me? And she says, listen, to add insult to injury, I didn't call you because I thought you would remove the human remain. What? Chick, we don't do this. Anyway, I said, okay, just as a professional courtesy, I would have appreciated a heads up, but I hear what you're saying to me, and it's just too wild, y'all. So sometimes our, really rotten real estate recollections involve people. It involves circumstances like this crazy circumstance. Well, the end of the story, like Paul Harvey, the rest of the story is the police went through. There was, cadaver dogs never found any kind of anything under the house, in a closet, or anything whatsoever in our listing. So thank God, right? But I knew that wasn't going to be an issue. But these are some of the crazy things that we go through as realtors that our clients never know about. We solve problems y'all never know existed, and sometimes it includes police and cadaver dogs. But it's Crystal with the Safari Group, North and South Carolina Realtor. If you've got some really rotten real estate recollections as a buyer, a seller, or a realtor, please share below. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.